so to me it's not like disputable. But I mean, the idea that inbreeding creates more mutations, more possibilities, seems quite rational. You know what I mean? The idea that there was like 7 mothers of all North American Indians. You know, there was 7 women that gave birth to, that they're the ancestors of all the North American tribes. And you can see that that's probably why, that's probably how you acquire racial differences in kind of short periods of time, is because there is extensive inbreeding. And you can see that with like every species, that's probably the way it worked. I mean, look at the Galapagos tortoises and those and the iguanas. I mean, they had a very limited breeding. Obviously, the first pairs that got there, they might have just been a female who laid eggs. And so it was all inbreeding that led to their first, 20 or 50 generations. Technically, they were all fucking, their own kind, their own brothers and sisters kind of thing. And that probably really does create accelerated speciation.
It's not like there's a, it's not like there's a distinct, not like there's a distinct time when speciation happens. It's not like there's a distinct time that, okay, this species has come to Earth or something, and then there's only like 3 or 4 humans to give rise to the rest of them. That's not really how it happened. There were plenty of intermediate steps that allowed for huge populations. And I'm not sure if interbreeding can lead to. I'm sure it can under certain circumstances, but on the contrary, I think mixing with different variations is actually more beneficial in terms of
No,
beneficial
that beneficial is the wrong fucking word. You're talking about change. What creates more change? Okay, and when you dilute the population, when you can't intermix with your own kind. Okay, all you can do is intermix with your kind that you've been separated from for some period of time. So if you've been separated by, you're kicked out of here. Just shut the fuck up, you retards. God damn, learn how to use Stickam or get the hell out of here, jackasses. But anyway, so that's just dilution. Yes, that's better for your species. If you want to stay the way you are, then yeah, it's better for you to mix in the sense that, yeah, let you become isolated, then you come back again and breed with the what you were. But the way you become a new independent organism is that you branch off. You get isolated and you become something completely distinct because of your starting off with a very small population. So I think that's what creates real differences. That's how you have evolution that's quick. I mean, evolution that can take place over 10,000 years or 100,000 years.
That'd be interesting to look into, but as far as I can tell, inbreeding causes recessive traits that haven't been expressed in a long time to appear, and they tend to be non-beneficial traits, which doesn't really help propagate your genes.
But all breeding is going to be by that same standard. Like I said, what if you separated 2 human populations, right?
You
And
rejoin
then
them
you rejoin them
30,000
years later. How have you expanded anything? You haven't expanded the gene pool at all. You've just gone back to the original. You've gone back to the original dilution. So the point is that if you have an isolated population and it's mutating because it's broken, essentially, because you are inbreeding, so you're creating exaggerations and distortions that are much more dramatic than you're going to have in a regular population. I mean, you're going to have people born with, out their fingers and without arms and without all kinds of fucked up shit is going to take place genetically. And that's not going to happen when the population is diluted. I mean, when your genes are diluted by a huge population. You can't fucking change a giant population. You can only change small populations. Just like that California salamander that everybody uses as an example. It's only going through speciation because as it gets further and further out of its original range, it's becoming more and more isolated from the big gene pool, and so it can change. It has the opportunity to change because it's in smaller populations.
A
Yes,
bit
it's Big
distracted.
Cigar. Yes, people, it's Big Cigar. Yes, I just don't see the fascination, but whatever. It's all the camera angle, you know. It's the camera angle. They do that in porn a lot.
Keep in mind that inbreeding doesn't necessarily cause genetic mutation. It doesn't cause the genes themselves to mutate. It causes recessive alleles of genes to appear. Doesn't actually cause the genes themselves to mutate. That happens every
Yeah,
generation.
Wicked is right.
Yeah, no, it happens more in an isolated population than in a non-isolated population. So yes, it does happen more. Okay, so I'm sorry, that's just fucking wrong. If you're in a population, in breeding populations of thousands, where you're constantly being intermixed, you're the chance of any change being retained is dramatically reduced, and the odds of those changes taking place are not enhanced. So I mean that argument just doesn't go anywhere. It's not a matter of alleles. It's a matter of creating a broken organism. It's a matter of it's breaking sperm and breaking eggs. You want their genetics to be broken.
Six, like 11 fingers, 12 fingers, things you see in inbreeding that seem like mutations in terms of the structure of the person or their bone structure or whatever. What are they called? The morphology. Um, doesn't necessarily mean a mutation on the level of the genes. Could just be recessive genes appearing. But anyhow, if you're going to disagree, that's fine. I mean, just go around in circles.
Well, I'm saying to you again, what is your argument? That in huge populations you have more opportunity for the dramatic change that'll lead to speciation? And my argument is no, you have less opportunity. You'll have more opportunity with a small population than you will with a large population. Because any change that's created isn't going to have a chance to be beneficial because it's going to get diluted out of existence.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
most speciation is caused by one huge population being broken into two um, and geographically separating so that the two
Yeah,
groups aren't
and the
inbreeding.
two groups are not the same size. Is the whole damn point. Just like there was only a small, tiny percentage of human race that crossed the fucking land bridge to North America. All right, you're talking about one tribe of fucking people that made it. One fucking tribe, and they created every North American that exists. They were never re-diluted with the European population again. And it's always that isolation that creates these radical or more accelerated changes. So in just over what 20,000 years, you were able to create the racial difference between a South American Indian and a white European.
Yeah, look, we're talking about two different things, so there's not really any reason to fight about it. Um, like isolated populations can
And
adapt.
quit being such a fucking kiss ass, will ya?
Well, whose ass is he kissing? But anyway, there's a reason to fight about it. I mean, it's sort of important because it's, understanding the mechanisms of how you create the change that creates these organisms and why we are what we are, why we're distinct. And we're only distinct because, yeah, we were, again, one of those little isolated populations that, that, that did something no other population did. I mean, there was a tiny one tribe in fucking Africa that did this fucking brain thing. All right, it wasn't some giant population that did it. It was a tiny little fucking tribe.
Yeah, but the mutation isn't necessarily due to inbreeding. It can also be like naturally selective pressures because they're in different environments. But I mean, you're right. It's possible it's inbreeding too. So yeah, but I don't really think anyone's refuting the idea